dobry Państwu, witam Państwa na kolejnym spotkaniu jubileuszowego 60. Krakowskiego Festiwalu Filmowego. Wyjątkowego nie tylko dlatego, że zawsze ten festiwal jest wyjątkowy, ale też wyjątkowego dlatego, że uczestniczymy w nim z bardzo różnych zakątków Polski i świata. A teraz z nami są reżyserki filmu Brokat i Kurz. Hello Anna, hello Julia.
Hello Krzysztof.
Those are the directors of the film, of documentary Glitter and Dust. And I'm wondering, well, one of the masters of Polish cinema, Andrzej Wajda, he used to say that he cannot shoot in America because he would feel that every technician, every electrician would understand the culture deeper and better. And you jumped just in the middle of American culture, in one of the biggest myths in the world of cowboys, cowgirls, of rodeo. It's quite courageous. Yeah.
It's courageous, you say?
Is it? Yeah.
Well, it seems I'm not sure I agree. I didn't feel very courageous doing it. We came there by our curiosity because we felt such a big attraction of the whole theme of the cowboys, the rodeos, the leather, the animals. It just, the moment we had the, sorry, my phone is ringing. How do I stop this? I switch off my phone. The moment we came up with the idea, we instantly had this whole scenery, this whole vision of how it should be, and we just hoped that it would actually exist in the way we dreamt it.
And how did you come up with this idea?
We found an article about little cowgirls. We found photos of a Polish photographer, I think, and we were instantly drawn to the mix of violence in a way, and then a girl acting as a man. That was instantly like an opposite that was so attractive to us.
I have to say something about the America thing because our conditions were very different. Anna went to America a lot and I never went there. So we had like very different ideas of how it could be and how it should be. She already knew stuff. I knew stuff, like, of course, by writing and reading and watching and listening to stuff. But I think our different conditions helped us a lot because I was like the one who for me, everything was really new. And for Anna, stuff was already known. And I think the combination, it was possible for us to shoot there also because we didn't come from America. It was people were like, we were like aliens in this kind of world. We were like the weird ladies from Berlin. And for them, it was much more easy to explain us or to show us stuff or to open up with us because they couldn't put us in a Schublade, Anna?
In a box.
In a box, yeah. And we were not, no way of, we didn't threat them. We didn't, we were not like somebody they knew. Do you know what I mean? We were not, we were so far away that it was easier to talk to us for example, to talk to somebody from New York or something. So it helped us a lot to be also, from.
Yes, they explain things. They explain things which would be obvious for someone for American, which is also good for the film.
Yeah, obvious, and they didn't. Yeah, and we were strange enough. It helped to be really strange.
Because this is what I noticed throughout last years, that some of the most the most interesting films are about also in feature cinema. About this, for example, Bible Belt, about those most American of American states were made by, for example, by David Mackenzie, who's immigrant, by Paolo Virzi, by Andrew Hai. So I'm wondering that this perspective of outsider also gives something additional to the film.
Yeah.
And so how did you discover this this world of rodeo? Because at the beginning, I guess it's quite spectacular, but then how did you get deeper into it?
When we finished our last film in Berlin, Anna sent me this picture she told about of this little girl tying a goat. And then we started to do research, and we had one Facebook friend in the US who helped us and connected us to one person. We went there, we traveled around, and people were very open with us, and they sent us like to the next person who could help us, and to the next person, to the next person. And so we started with the classical white rodeo family in Texas, and step by step we discovered that it's much more diverse, that we have the reservation, that we have the Hispanic people, that everybody claims to be the first cowboy. And so we started to travel around and meet all these people, and then we started to meet the girls. And step by step, we came this way.
Well, maybe with asking the most simple question, how do you explain it? Why people who, for example, like like the father of one of the girls who lost so much and so much health and had injuries, why do they let their children, very young children actually, do it?
Well, the father you are referring to, he's Hispanic and he's originally from Mexico, and he comes from a ranch and he comes from a cowboy bull riding background. And it's basically the only thing he knows to teach. And he believes strongly that it is the right thing to teach his kids, because it teaches so many values that they really feel are important to learn, such as hard work, or they have a phrase that's cowboy up. The moment you get thrown down and you're really beat and hurt, you just sniff it up and just get back on the horse or on the bull. And those are the values or virtues that they treasure. And I feel like he doesn't know a lot of other things to teach, but this is the thing he knows by heart, and he really believes in it. So even if he almost lost a leg and got hurt so many times, he really wanted to teach it the right way to his kids so that they won't get hurt, and that they have the possibility, like a little golden Willy Wonka ticket to the $1 million that are in bull riding. And even if it's a carrot in front of their nose, this is the classical hope that they are following.
This is the thing I wanted to ask also, is it only, because on one hand it's a sport, but on the other it's connected to whole vision of life, of human being, to this myth of independent, free, strong cowboy. Does it still exist?
What do you mean, the myth of all these things?
Yes,
or
exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure it exists. It's like in the DNA of the people. It's still, most of them come from old school cowboy families. They have their own church, they have their own visions, they have their own political way of seeing the world, yeah. But we also thought, okay, yeah, this is the part of the cowboy community, but then it gets more difference in the different cultural backgrounds, because everybody adds something different on top of it. The Native Americans, they have another point of view about this cowboy myth than the classical white family. The Mexicans also have another point of view. So there is this idea of being independent and being responsible by yourself. They don't believe in the government. They are responsible by themselves. They wear guns. All these things come from this cowboy myth, but they have their own interpretations of it. But it still exists, yes.
Even though it seems so unreliable to modern world, even in economic terms, even in every terms, I would say.
Yeah.
So how is it possible that this whole view of the world is somehow adapted by indigenous people, by Native Americans, by immigrants?
Well, it's almost like this thing with hummus, where everybody claims to be the first who has invented hummus. It's the same with the cowboys. Everybody says we were the first cowboys. So the Hispanics claim that for themselves, and then the whites claim it for themselves, and then the natives have their own ride with it. Fully, I still don't understand why they identify with it so much. It has been explained to me a lot, but it still is a bit of a juxtaposition to me. But the cowboy image has such a big promise to it. It's such a big promise of freedom and being your own man, being your own woman, that it seems attractive to a lot of people. And I feel like if two girls from Berlin are attracted by the image, it makes so much sense that so many people who are way closer to it feel the attraction too. There seems to be something so archetypical about it, that is calling, that is like a deep longing or a calling for a lot of people. Do you have something to add, Julia?
No.
Well, yes, but you're attracted because it's archetypical, but also there is something dangerous in it. There is something which is so in opposition to exactly to modern world we all living in.
And I think it's a global thing to look back to old systems and to things that had value in the past. And somehow the cowboy or the cowgirl really resonates with the longing for traditional structures or for more strict structures. I feel like it is not that I myself have the longing for it, but I feel like if some people are looking for spiritual stuff right now, there seems to be also a place for looking for this kind of cowboy imagery to fulfill some need inside right now.
Yeah, and it's a playground for everything. You have everything. You have especially for men, of course, you have a very simple, not simple, but there's a very easy identification, and then you can structure your whole life. The people live, everything depends on rodeo and being a cowboy or a girl, like Monday to Sunday. And for the girls who are not supposed to be part of it, it's like what every girl or everybody wants to be somebody, and they find a way to be somebody too, because for the 15-year-old girls being poor, living on the reservation, there's no spot where they fit in to have their own identification. And that's their way to jump on this easy picture, to also find a way to be somebody. And yeah, I think I understand it easy why people identify with it.
So what you say is that it's also the answer to to exclusion, to poverty, to lack of identity.
Say it again.
In a way.
No, I was asking if you're saying also that it's answer to exclusion, to lack of identity, lack of strong, feeling of identity.
Ich verstehe es nicht, Anna, musst du mal kurz.
Yeah, I feel like, it might be what Julia was saying was that it gives you an answer on how to do things in a certain way. And a lack of identity is a very hard or a very harsh thing to say about someone, but I feel like there might be something true about it, that the American identity is so diverse, and the cowboy and cowgirl identity is so much clearer, and it rings true to so many people who long for a more traditional or more yesteryear's feeling, that I feel like it might be the right answer right now to a lot of girls, because it seems like a trend, especially on the reservation. It's kind of a trend to be a cowgirl and be a bull rider and be a be participating in a men's event. And we have been wondering why it is. And I feel like it might be just fashionable. It might be just like gone in a year, but it might also have something to do with, I feel very strong when I do this. And I feel very seen when I do this. I mean, somebody is yelling out your name in the arena. Everybody's watching you to perform. You do something so brave, so courageous. You might even get hurt really bad or die. And I think it's also a tickling feeling of being alive and really feeling yourself. And yeah, I think that it's a strong mix of stuff.
And as you speak about girls in this world, do you feel that this is kind of empowerment, or on the contrary, it's just, you know, trying to fit into a bit macho, a bit chauvinist stereotype?
Sorry, guys, my connection is so bad. I think you have to go on, Anna. I'm
Okay.
trying. I'm having the half of it only.
Okay.
The next one right here in chat to you.
Yeah. I feel like it's a journey of empowerment, even though from the outside it might seem like the girls are sometimes victims of their situations or of their familiar background. They actually do change a lot about their situations, and they actually do have some freedom of decisions for themselves. And they are, in fact, changing their world, even though the change might seem very small, looking from being like in this yoga hippie vegan Berlin world where your Facebook algorithms tell you that the world already is almost enlightened. In their reality, it is a big change that they are there and that they aren't uninvited from these events, and that people are applauding when they are riding and stuff, because it is still a very male and chauvinistic world, and they have to put up with a lot of stuff that not everybody would put up with just to be there. And they also have to live with the fact that they are weaker in the sport and that they will easily be laughed at because they didn't have the chance to practice, or they don't have the physical strength to hold on that long. Yeah, so it's a performance of empowerment, I think.
But also what I also wrote on in chat for Julia is that when I see 10-year-old girl in this costume, it's somehow disturbing to me. I mean, it brings, you know, to my mind all those beauty peasants, John Bennett Ramsey, and all this, well, quite dangerous parts of American culture.
But which costume you mean? Like this cowgirl shirts or?
Well, the whole, you know, 9-year-old girl, she's so young and you know and just, you know, giving the whole show there. I don't know, it's just very disturbing to me.
Really, it's interesting because I don't feel like this at all. I feel like what they did is they took all this. I really love the costumes. I think they're beautiful, and they took like the male versions and then they put it like in a feminine way, which is a taste thing, of course. But they are far away from beauty pageant for me, you know, because it's not. Because for me, a lot of it depends on which girl you mean, but a lot of them are very strong in these costumes, and they take their own way of. I saw very creative ways how they wore their stuff, and you cannot buy the stuff. They do it. A lot of the stuff they do it at home, and I don't feel that they are like sexualized or something. I feel like they, you know, if you do sports, if you want to be part of a culture and you cannot buy the stuff, you have to become creative. I don't have this feeling that it's weird. I never felt it.
Because there is some kind of exploitation when you see 9-year-old girl with broken leg trying to give the performance.
Yeah, that's something else. That's something different. Yeah, yeah. Of course. It's a violent moment, of course.
But you don't feel it sexualized.
And she has no choice.
By the way,
no, the one thing is, sorry.
No, go on, please.
I think it's a difference to be in a beauty pageant and be sexualized underage without your knowing really what all of this is all about, or if you are in a situation where you are pushed to go over your limits and it's therefore a violent situation that you can of course question who's making decisions right now and who is able to have a decision, really, who's free to decide. This is a completely different issue. I don't feel that they are sexualized. It's that there are a few little girls, like 2-year-olds, running around in miniskirts. You know, could also be a cultural thing. But talking about a 9-year-old who feels like she has to push herself over her own limits, this is something else, yeah.
I've just noticed that I mixed the word beauty pageant with beauty peasant, which is, I hope it's not Freudian slip. Yes, but then I'm wondering, you mentioned how dangerous it is, and as a documentary filmmakers, did you take it into the account that the accident may happen?
Yeah, always. Because we know how dangerous it is and how frequently accidents happen. Yes, of course we did.
Did you had those discussions? I mean, because this is well, you're watching the world, knowing you're portraying the girls, knowing that something terrible might happen. Actually, one terrible thing happened. Thankfully, not as terrible as it could. I mean, there is the ethical question for you.
Yes, we did a film about female wrestlers before. And so we were kind of used to come from a violent surrounding somehow. And then we knew that we were going to shoot in America, which has a violent society. You know, we're gonna be less subtle than in Germany in the wrestling community. And we always knew something could happen. But we also always said, the girls, we can't do the decisions. The decisions are made already. We can only follow the girls and go with the girls and hope that nothing happens. But the decision is somewhere else. People are grown up. I mean, the small girl not, but you know. And we can't take over for anybody. And we had a couple of situations when we thought something is going to happen, and we talked about it quite a lot, what we're going to do if something happens. And then we had this one situation with the accident, and we had big discussions if we keep on shooting or not, and how we're going to do it. And that's the way how we did it in the end. We decided not to stop.
And after all this journey, by the way, how long did it take to make the film?
Shooting?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like almost 2 years. Research and shooting 2 years.
Oh, it's quite a long time. And after all this time, because you know those states like Texas, Arizona, those are the states which, as press says, well, and also it's as it is, have chosen Donald Trump as a president. I'm wondering, after this experience, did you understand also more from US politics?
In a way. I mean, when we arrived for research, it was February 2017. It was just the moment when the Muslim ban got active, and we were greeted in Houston by activists. And we were not Muslim, so they didn't greet us. But you know, they were like, "Welcome to this country. We are an open country," and so on. So it stayed with us all the time. In almost every motel, they have the Fox News on for breakfast, and a lot of the people we spent time with were very unusual for us. It was not our usual coffee partner to talk to, so we were confronted with a lot of different political views, and this is the part that I really treasure about this experience, that I got to talk to so many people, and that because I am foreign and because I am from a different country, people were opening up to us and talking to us maybe more openly than they would with other people, even though we have left wing on our foreheads, and they totally understood that we, of course, would not be supporting Trump. People were very open-minded most of the times, and we got to meet a lot of people that we would never meet here. Or the German equivalent. We would never talk to them here. So it was sad many times, because we felt like it was a very divided country, and that it was drastic to see the state it is in. But also we got only to see a very small window, because, as you said, Texas and Arizona and Navajo Nation are extreme places in the US, and the US is just so many things at the same time. It is also the most avant-garde place in the world at the same time, and we were in very poor and places that look back rather than forward. So yeah, I don't know if I understand politics more, but I got to understand the people more that live there.
Well, in a way, you know, I'm asking about the US, but I can easily relate to those processes and those people who felt unseen. I can easily see the similar mechanisms in Poland. So actually, it's not only discussion for me about the US, but also about a lot of European countries.
Yeah, but I agree with everything what Anna said. The point is that it's more easy to, which is interesting, is that it's more easy to talk to people who think so opposite of the way you're thinking somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And it's impossible at home. And that's really interesting, because with here on the countryside where I'm right now, I know that a lot of people disagree totally with everything I think, and we don't talk because it would explode. And in the US, if we go to, when we went to the US, we talked to everybody, and it's an experience which is super interesting, and which is because of the fact that it's not an American problem. It's very, it's very international. It's very nice. And understanding politics in the US, yes, we understand, of course, more things, but I also understand that I have less clue how to make the gap between the people, how to close it. I have no idea. I don't know how they want to do it. It sounds sad, but it seems impossible to me. That's what I figured out after being so much there.
Well, I feel it every day here in Poland too, actually. Yeah. And as you say, being in countryside, you can relate to it in Germany too.
Yes, of course. We have the same situation. We have the same things. We have the same right-wing movement problems, and like everywhere, almost everywhere.
Well, maybe there's hope in coronavirus that this solidarity against the virus can fix some of our problems.
Yeah, maybe. But also in the US, the coronavirus hits really hard in Navajo Nation. You know, it's also the same thing, where people are poor and where social conditions are bad. That's where it hits really hard.
Okay, so, and by the way, I remember, because when I was at the Berlin, because you're in Berlin, aren't you? Yeah.
Yes.
I remember at the Berlinale when the coronavirus pandemic we started to realize, and at the beginning of the festival, everybody laughed about it, and in the end, everyone was so scared about it, and so frightened. It was so interesting to see, like in those 12 days, everything has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember sitting with Julia with a lot of people shoulder to shoulder in those discussions or something, and it just felt cozy. And after a while, you were like, oh, this might not be the ideal situation to be in right now. Yeah, it has changed so quickly in such a short time, how you view the world and how you view spending time with people and people you don't know. And I don't know if you had the same, the moment it kicked in and the lockdown came, when I watched a program or a film or a show and the people were spending close time together, I was like, no, you shouldn't do that.
I said this, absolutely, yeah. Exactly. Okay, so let's hope that as quickly as it started and as quickly as it has changed our lives, let's hope that it will go quickly backwards to, I mean, I don't know backwards, but we will gain trust to each other once again. Okay.
Yes, so, and we hope to spend time in Krakow next year at the festival. We're really, really sad to miss out on it.
I hope you have a lot of different occasions. So thank you so much for this virtual Q&A, and thank you for the journey throughout Texas and Arizona and the bull riding world. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Christoph. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.